Fight Live returns to Channel 5 this Friday. Two of Britain's most exciting super lightweights collide at London's legendary York Hall. Don't miss Eubank vs Farrell this Friday on Channel 5.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.
Razaban IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. With me on Zoom, Mr. Dave Coldwell. Dave, I thought I got rid of the life of Zooms, but it looks like we have to use it here and there at times. How are we doing?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. All right, just watched Kylian Mbappe absolutely smash it. Unbelievable player. So now I'm just waiting for the England game, so I managed to fit you
in. Dave, just before obviously we start on the reason why we wanted to have a quick little chat regarding yesterday's heavyweight fight between Fury and Chisora. I just want to get an update on Laurent Richards. Obviously, I know we spoke about it last week. Just wanted to see how he was, how the scans went, and if you had an update.
He got his MRI done on, it was a Tuesday, I think he went for it, and everything's come back all right on the MRI. That was the major one. I think the doctors said that his blood pressure was very, very low. I don't know. I've not really spoke to him in depth about it, but he said the doctor said that his blood pressure is a little bit low. He needs rest, but then he'll be all right. He'll be fine. So he's looking forward to rescheduling, hopefully for February.
Well, yeah, it's good news at least, Dave. There's no damage or permanent damage there, so that's great.
Yeah, that was the main concern. But no, thankfully everything's fine, so we can put that, we can write off as a really bad year, just a terrible year for him. And hopefully, like we said on the night to John Wish, to Ben Shalom, he'll be good for straight away in the new year. Obviously needs a little bit of rest, so then February, I believe they're going to have a date in February. That's perfect for Laurent, so fingers crossed.
Well, good news to hear. Dave, last night, people were split on when they heard the matchup, Fury Chisora. People were split whether it should happen, whether it was a fight that we all thought. But at the end of the day, it took place. It sold an incredible amount of tickets. Again, people thought December outdoors won't do very well, but it looks like they sold close to 60,000 tickets. Just wanted kind of your overall assessment on the fight, and I think everyone kind of expected Fury to win anyway.
Firstly, the fact that it sold so well in December in the freezing cold, it's just great. It's great for the sport, and it shows that Tyson Fury is, which we knew anyway. Tyson Fury is a massive, massive star and a massive name. The sport needs people like that. The sport needs, the guys that reach outside the box, not just the boxing fans. And Tyson's shown that he's right up there with them as well. So, AJ, Fury, there's only really those two that have pulled, I know Froch versus Groves, but I'm talking about actual individual fighters, whoever they're fighting can pull, huge stadium figure attendances, which is fantastic. We need people like that for the sport. But to do it in December when it's freezing cold as well, that's great, so yeah. Firstly, on that side of things, fantastic. The fight itself, like you said, a lot of people, weren't, were a little bit in two minds about it, were against the fight. And I think people saw it as the Tyson Fury show, which I think majority of people that went there probably were. It is about the occasion, about the event. Whoever he fights, they'll turn up for. And I think that's what. I don't think many people that were outside Derek's camp, Derek's fan base, I don't think many people thought that seriously that there was going to be a huge upset. But the thing about Derek is that he has had highlight reel knockouts in the past. He has had come from behind victories in the past, and he is somebody that will give it absolutely everything, and that's why fans turned up.
Dave, a lot of people were criticizing the corner. They felt the corner should have kind of pulled him out early. Derek said at the end, when back in the locker room, about the referee stopping the fight, and he said, "Look, I'm a fighter. I'm going to carry on. The referee's there to do the right thing, and he admitted the referee did the right thing. Did it go on a few too many rounds from your perspective?
Listen, I said to you before, I listened to it on Talksport. I didn't watch it. I haven't seen any of it yet. I'll watch it. If I don't, I'm not one of these that like to watch little clips and things. If I don't see a fight live, I don't go back and just watch little clips and little highlights. So when I can watch it live in its entirety, then I'll probably watch it. But I listened to it, and it sounded awful to listen to be fair. I chose not to watch it because it wasn't a fight that I want to see Derek in. After the Parker fight, I said to him in the changing rooms that I felt it was a perfect time for him to retire. And it wasn't a case of I can't see, you can't win any more fights. It's a case of that I don't want to see you getting it as many times as what you are doing now, and I just thought it was a perfect time for him to walk away. The crowd singing his name at a last big fight against Joseph Parker, but he chose to carry on, beats Pulev, and then now he's fighting in front of 60,000 fans at Tottenham Hotspur for the world title. So he got what he wanted, but in that fight I could only see either Fury goes out there and puts it on him and gets rid of him quick. Fury decides to win on points and it beats him up, which means it's a sustained punishment. But also Derek is that tough, so the option was there that Derek could be that tough that he just soaks everything up, and he gets hammered for 12 rounds. And I didn't want to see either of those. I didn't want to watch either of those options. So I didn't. And I'm listening to Talksport every day with football, and I thought, and you're hearing them saying they're covering the Fury fight. I was like, oh, I'll listen to it. So I listened to it, and yeah, it didn't sound great. So in answer to your question, I can't tell you whether the fight should have been stopped or not because I didn't watch it, but from the commentators on the radio and from obviously I've seen the response on social medias, then people are saying, yeah, it was bad. It was bad the amount of punishment he was taking. But to go to a trainer's point of view, the trainer sees it how he sees it. He knows his fighter. He knows, how he's responding there. He knows whether he believes that he can turn it around. If he thought that Derek could turn it around, and Derek was in the fight all the time, or Fury showing signs that he could be got at, then maybe that's why I kept him in there. But if he didn't, and it was just because Derek's tough, then I think that's when a fighter needs looking after, and that decision taken out of the fighter's hands. Because you got a man like Derek Chisora, he ain't quitting for nobody. He's got immense heart, toughness, and then he gets in this zone where he's just going to keep trudging forward. And when he has successes, and you think you can turn it around, but if there's no success, again, I didn't see it, but from what I was listening on, it didn't sound as though there was much success in there. And if there's not much success, or there's no success, then really that is just a beating.
Dave, I remember a couple of years ago, Frank Warren said that Derek Chisora should retire. Eddie Hearn went on record to say that he'd love to see Chisora fight Wilder. And everyone refers back to this victory over Pulev, but we have to also remember Pulev is nowhere near his prime as well. He may well be a top 15 heavyweight, but he's kind of well past his best.
Yeah.
Derek last night took a lot of clean shots, a lot of uppercuts from Fury. And like you said, Derek, you've worked with him, you've trained him for a number of years and for a number of fights, but does someone have to put their hand around his shoulder and say, Derek, it's up. The time's up now, because Derek just wants the big fights. I don't think Derek can get up for British level. No disrespect to the British level fighters, but he wants to make the most money at the highest possible level. And do you feel like that's come to an end now, and someone needs to put their hand around his shoulder and say, Derek, it's time to go?
The problem is that Derek wants to fight. Somebody told me earlier on that Derek's done an interview where he says he wants to carry on. I was hoping that this fight would be the fight where he gets his world title shot, gets his big, massive paycheck, and he can finish and go out into the sunset and be content. But the worry is that if he's not content, and it sounds like he's not already, and I'm hoping it's just the adrenaline and the afterglow from such a big event, because even if he's lost, but the event and being part of such a spectacle is such a rush, So I'm hoping it's just that's speaking, and then in a few days' time when things hit home a little bit, then he maybe decides and thinks, you know what, bow out at this point. It's perfect time, perfect opportunity to get out of the sport. Because the worry is that, like you said, that he does want to carry on. That's where he needs, his management, whoever's managing him now. If it's, last I knew it was 258, but whoever is in that position to say, Derek, no. Family, friends, people around him to say, Derek, think about the long term, think about the future. And then, well, I think the main thing is the big promoters. If the big, it's all right, I'm coming out and saying he should retire and this, but the promoters are the ones, because they stage the events. So if they aren't willing to put Derek on anymore and say, listen, mate, with all due respect, and because we value, not because, you shit now, we don't want anything to do, but because we value as you put that much into our sport, given us great events, given the fans great nights, we actually value you now. So we're not gonna take from you anymore. We're not gonna give you an opportunity to. And it's not even about the money now. I mean, listen, it's not even the money. He's earned a lot of money, but last night he'll have earned serious money. So it's not even about giving him a payday anymore. It's giving him that platform, or that give him that platform to do more harm than good that's going to come out of it. So it'd be nice if they turned around and said, thanks for everything, but there's no slots available, there's no room, that's it. And then if the guys with the TV contracts, your Frank Warrens, your Eddie Ernst, even your Bob Arum and Top Rank, the guys with the big TV platform that play big money, if they turn around and say no, then he's not going to work. He's not going to pay. He's not going to box for 30-40 grand. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to box for fees that smaller TV companies can pay, or box for even less, that small old promoters can pay. So then you're kind of like cutting him off at the source, and then he doesn't box. But the problem is that my worry is that if when a fighter doesn't feel like he's done, then it's how does he handle the not fighting anymore? How does he handle the retirement? How does he handle building a new life for himself? And that's the worry. People like Derek, who and I've said it in the gym to the lads before this fight, when I'd said I want him to retire after Parker, but the fact that he doesn't, and he was like straight away on that night, he was like, fuck that, straight away turn around to Frank Smith, says, when you get me out again, this is after a fight like that. He just loves it. He loves to fight. He's a hard man, yes, but he just loves to fight. There's plenty of people that say they love to fight, but he actually really, really does it. I think that needs to be extinguished. That needs to be satisfied. And that's my worry for him, is that people like that, when they retire, they struggle readjusting. And that's where, that's why it's not so plain and simple. That's why it's not so plain and simple. Oh yeah, just retire. That's it. Because we're not him. We haven't got that same mindset. We don't actually. Although we feel like, even me as a coach or an ex-boxer, I can understand and think, but I don't actually truly know what's ticking in that brain. And not just with Derek, with other fighters, so other fighters that have retired, thinking about their health long term, because it gets to that point in the career, but still feel physically as though they can still do it. When you physically feel as though you can still do it, that's the danger spot, because you're like, well, why not? And you're when you have that desire and that some fighters, the boxing, the discipline of the boxing, that is what keeps them from doing stupid things. I'm not saying he's going to turn out and go on a rampage and start smashing everybody up and things. I'm not saying that, but with some people, they have it's like we do know that he's got a bit of a switch, where 1 minute he's all right, next minute he's a bit of a scary dude. But the boxing might be what tames that side, and it gives him an outlet for the other side, the war Chisora to come out. I mean, you don't want that war Chisora coming out anywhere else other than a boxing ring. Do you know what I mean? So, like I said, I don't know what's going on in his head. I don't know how he feels. Maybe he worries that is what keeps him calm, keeps him cool. But I would hope that the fact that he's got a lovely family, 2 young kids, couple of young kids, I would hope that would like settle the fires, and that would give him motivation to look at something else and just enjoy being a dad, enjoy being a family man, and just enjoy the life that he's built through all his hard work, all his heart that he's put put into each fight and each camp, and just enjoy himself. I would hope that he could do that.
Dave, just finally, obviously we saw Alexander Usyk in attendance, Joyce in attendance. Both of them jumped up on the ring. Probably the two fighters there have 2 different styles. Obviously Usyk's undefeated, Joe is undefeated, but which one do you think stylistically will give Fury more problems out of the 2?
I think they both give any heavyweights problems in their own way. They're 2 different styles, but they both give any heavyweight in the world problems. Joyce is that constant pressure, that Joe's a guy that when you were watching him coming through, you just think he's terrible, and you think, fucking hell, he gets hit with everything, and he's slow and he's cumbersome, and yes, he's heavy-handed and he's tough, but he'll get found out when he steps up. And you keep saying he'll get found out when he steps up, but he keeps stepping up and he keeps doing the same job. And with Ismail Salas as well, he's actually got a rhythm to his boxing that works for him, and is very, very hard for other fighters to deal with. His jab's a lot better than what you think it is. He's not just as one-dimensional and crude as what it kind of like looks like. And obviously with Usyk's got he's got the legs, he's got the skills, he's got the boxing IQ, but I think they both have the styles that could give Fury problems. What I would say is that although I do think that Usyk's got the ability to beat Tyson Fury, for him I'd worry that Fury's too big. He's a big man that's very, very good. He's a big man that's skillful. He's a big man that's tough, gritty, and can box in numerous ways as well. So he's not just a big man. He's a very, very good big man. And the size difference could be too much for Usyk's attributes to come into effect. With Joyce against Fury, again, you would think that Fury's skills and boxing ability would be too much for him, but I'm done with writing off Joyce. I'm done, and I'm not going to write because I look at him. I thought Dubois was going to beat him, and you just look at him and you just think he's going to get found out. He's going to get found out, but you can't, because he just at some point it will do, and then you can say, "See, I told you." But when's that gonna come? I don't know. I've started. It was a bit of a slow burner, but I like what I see with Joyce. He makes it work for himself. Not everybody can be the slickster, the skills to deliver these brilliant combination punches and look flashy and great while they're getting rid of people. Some people, you just see them and they're just raw. And he's scary, man. He's scary. And then, like I said, you know, Fury, you've got the skills in it. I would like to see, obviously, you want to see undisputed. So obviously Usyk and Fury. But I'm not gonna lie, I want to see Usyk and Joyce as well. Not Usyk. Well, yeah, I'd like to see that as well. But I want to see Fury and Joyce just because it's a fantastic matchup again. There's so many fights between those four guys. There's four guys there. Wilder, AJ, because Wilder's still somebody you want to watch. AJ is still somebody you want to watch. You know. Then you've got Joyce and you've got Fury and you've got Usyk. It's like it's a great mix, but we need to see the fights happen and amongst themselves. You know, there's so many good fights there for the sport, and that if they all started fighting each other, that just lift the sport massively. It'd go to another level. Listen, Fury selling out Tottenham against Derek Chisora in a fight that got panned beforehand, and everyone saying it was going to be one way, and everyone kind of knew it was going to be, and you were just that intrigued. Well, what if Derek? What if? You imagine. Obviously, Fury against AJ against Wilder, Usyk against Wilder. It's just there's so many different mixes. Joyce in that with either one of those as well. They're all going to sell. They're all going to make the promoters a lot of money, the fighters a lot of money. But I just worried that a lot of times in boxing, you look at Crawford Spence, you look at Pacquiao Mayweather. They wait, and then the fights never happen, or they happen when you're talking about shells of the fighters that they once were, and it does the sport no favors. And I don't think it. I tell you what else I don't think does the sport favors is when your team Matchroom slagging off team Warren, your team Warren slagging off team Matchroom. So fans that aren't boxing people and aren't like, you know, don't look at the intricacy of fights and things. They just see that a show's getting panned. They go, I'm not going to bother watching. Viewing figures are shit. Fighters on the undercard aren't getting exposure. And it's like, you're killing the sport because it's like you just want to put one over on the others. And you know, we've all been guilty of it. Everybody's been guilty of it. And I've kind of like looked at landscape of how sport's going at the moment recently. And it's like, if you're going to slate something, ultimately slagging off the sport from within. And if the guys and us from inside the sport are slating every show just because he's not got one of our fighters on it, then the people on the outside that have no loyalties to either of the sport won't attach themselves to sport because they'll just hear it's shit. And they'll just hear that, oh, it's not worth watching. So then they're on it. And then all you're going to get is fans of that promoter watch that show and fans of that promoter watch that show. You know, I think we need to, as a sport, we need to kind of like pull a finger out all round. Otherwise, it's only going one way.
Dave, appreciate giving me a little bit of time. I know it's Sunday. I know you're getting ready to probably watch England play big game against Senegal, and I'm sure your boy's gonna be probably knocking on the door any minute now. So, Dad, come on, let's get ready for the game. But yeah, enjoy the game. Thank you for a few minutes of your time, Dave, and we'll catch up with you very soon.
Thanks, mate. Nice one.
Dave Coldwell, IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Fight Live returns to Channel 5 this Friday. Two of Britain's most exciting super lightweights collide at London's legendary York Hall. Don't miss Eubank vs Farrell this Friday on Channel 5.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.